Hello everyone, it's Lauren and welcome to my first ever deck tech. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been talking about my Amber Emerald aggressive deck ad nauseum, and, well, since then the meta has updated and I'm not as sold on it as a deck. I actually recorded the deck tech for it and everything, but I wanted to give you something more up to date. So instead I want to share the deck that I've been playing on Pixelborn to a 64% win rate all week, Amber Sapphire. This deck originally started as a princess deck using Moana to create significant value with the great princesses the color combination had to offer, with Shift Auroras and Jasmines to make the banishing of any of your characters a pain. And while the deck had merit, I kept cutting princesses for other slots, and eventually I gave up on the synergy and just built the best deck I could. So what's this deck's plan? Well, it has a 16-card package to ensure it survives the early game beatdown from Amber Steel and Amber Emerald. Those are 4 Flounders, 4 Stitch New Dogs, as well as 4 Simbas, and 4 Fills. Fill especially is important to trading with opposing Simbas. Your goal with these early drops is not to be gaining lore, though if it's free to do so, go ahead, but instead to control the board of your opponent's characters. I seldom actually bodyguard with Simba, as I'm not in the market to quest on a contested board early. I almost always play a 1-drop on turn 1, but if your opponent hasn't put a character into play yet, come turn 2, I save my 2-drop for potential ink later in the game. After the early game has kept you alive, it's time to start gaining an advantage as early as turn 3. While Mickey Mouse Detective doesn't literally say draw a card, inking the top card of your library is essentially the same thing, especially on turn 3. The other 3-drop is everyone's favorite singer, Ariel. To support Ariel, I have a rather exhaustive song package. The obvious inclusions are 4 Be Our Guests and 4 Let It Goes, but to ensure that Ariel hits as often as possible, I've included the full 4 Part of Your World, which, in combination with Hades, Lord of the Underworld, creates an unbeatable late game, but the real head-scratcher is the 2 Hakuna Matata. Now, Hakuna Matata is not a good card, and to be honest, I've never cast it. Its only job is to be ink and to increase Ariel's hit rate from 60% to 67%. In the 4-drop slot to go along with Hades is my avatar herself, Rapunzel. At this point, I don't think I have to tell you how strong this card is. She draws cards, she heals your characters, she does everything you want a card to do. Moving up the curve are 4 Maleficent Uninviteds at the 5-drop slot. She may not create additional value like much of the cards above 2 ink, but a 3/6 that quests for 3 just does enough to earn the slot. She challenges well, she quests well, and you can play her in turn 4 after a Mickey Mouse Detective. Next on the curve are the newest addition to the deck, 2 Robin Hoods. While you don't often draw a card off of him, not that having more cards in your hand to begin with is a bad thing, he answers some of the deck's biggest problems: evasive creatures. I've lost too many games to Genie on the Job, and having it out to challenge him as well as the Pongos and Tinkerbells of the world is amazing. And finally comes the top end. At 7 ink we have Hades Infernal Schemer, who in addition to his song counterpart Let It Go account for the deck's removal, and finally is Stitch Carefree Surfer, who keeps the cards flowing into the late game. With Stitch and your 8 effects that return a character from the discard bin to your hand, it's not uncommon to outdraw even the prolific card drawing Ruby Amethyst deck. That's the cards in the deck, and now I want to go over some strategy. While mulliganing, I assume that I'm playing against an aggressive deck and pitch cards appropriately. The 5 to 7 drops, as well as the recursion cards, Hades, Lord of the Underworld, and Part of Your World, all go back as you'll find your value engines for the late game. The other strategy I want to talk about is how to use your recursion cards. Against Ruby Amethyst in particular, I always hold on to 1 Hades, Lord of the Underworld if I can get another one back. This engine ensures you will always have a threat on board, as well as cards in your hand so you can outgrind the control deck. And that's the deck. I've been loving the deck and it's been rewarding me with some nice wins. Hopefully next week I'll figure out how to record some Pixelborn and I'll show the deck off in action. Until then, I've left the link to the deck and the Pixelborn code in the description. I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Thanks for watching!